Breaking out the Kenny Pickett jersey now, are we?
Yeah, with the last week's performance, kind of looked like he was still on the field.
Oh my God, we did it!
I don't want to hear it from a guy who's half his fan base is Swifties. Broncos country, let's cry.
Back to the Super Bowl.
Why'd they put the trash cans next to the Cowboys helmet?
You could take it and shove it up your...
Peace!
What I really need to be hearing from you, though, is thank you.
Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome to this preseason Week 2 recap of the Trajan Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic Christian Temple, joined alongside, as always, by my good friend, the Kenny Pickett wearer jersey. A terrible towel twirly Trajan. It's one of those deals. The preseason. You hate to see your teams lose, but at the same time, it was really just the third string, second string out there too. Just look at the quarterbacks. There was no starters out there for either team this week. No, that's obviously false because Mahomes had probably one of the craziest throws of his career, and he saved that for preseason, and it wasn't even designed that way. So, how are you doing today, my good friend?
I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here. I'm in pain. I'm embracing it. Let's do this.
Well, it couldn't have hurt his last year's loss to the Bills, right?
And that's true.
Got to look at the bright side.
And then crap.
At least you're just in pain. Your heart wasn't shattered,
It's true. That's very true. There's other games that were shattering.
Absolutely. So, well, this will be a shorter episode this week. It's not really a whole lot to talk about. It was just probably some of the positives, the negatives of this week's preseason games, and we'll talk about what's coming up next week for preseason. For week 3 of preseason, excuse me. We're gonna save the wins and loss predictions for our respective teams for the bye week after the conclusion of the third preseason week, since there's going to be some football in between, or there's going to be no football in between, rather. I wish there's football in between, but got to get everyone healthy, got to get everyone ready to go for week 1, and I am so excited. We're 15 days away from the home opener, at least as we're recording this. When it goes live tomorrow, it'll be 14 days, actually, 2 weeks away. But yes, we'll move over on to the Lions versus Chiefs. And as you can see here, it was quite the high-scoring affair of 24-23. It was fun watching the first-string players take a couple drives out there too. Both drives, unfortunately, only ending up in field goals, but good to see Ariza still getting good practice as the holder for Harrison Butker, who is once again perfect for the day. Pat Mahomes, 8 completions for 14 yards. That is not correct. 8 completions for 93 yards, 14 attempts, including one of those completions behind the back, which was... full disclosure, I did not watch this game as it happened. I was in Salina getting ready for a wrestling event, and then I look on Facebook, and I just happened to see someone talk about the behind-the-back pass Mahomes executed. I had to look it up. I had to search it out, and sure enough, it was very similar to the play that they like to run when it's like 3rd and short, or if it's like, they're by the goal line too, fade out to the right, lead the defense out to the right, and then have one of your blockers, like receiver or tight end or fullback or one of the two or one of the three, wait in the middle, underhand pass, shovel pass, what may have you, catch it, and you usually get a good, easy 5 yards, most of the time. This time's a little different because that was not the design play, apparently, according to Mahomes himself. Apparently, Travis wasn't supposed to fake a block and wait in the middle. He was supposed to actually go out into the flat. that was the play design. And apparently Kelsey misheard the play, ran the wrong route, but was in the perfect spot. And Mahomes, who, in quote, said, out of spite, threw it behind his back. And it was right there to Kelsey. A little low, but, Kelsey's got good hands. Right to Kelsey, picks up the first down and keeps the drive alive and keeps them going down to score 3 more points, too. So, it's going to be interesting if we do see that happen in an actual regular season game that'll count. But it was still pretty sweet seeing that in action in a preseason game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the media has been loving it, for sure. More cock riding. Oh, can we say that? Can we say that? Okay.
The Glazers and the whatever OG Lightskin said in their video earlier when I showed you that. If you haven't seen that video yet, go watch it. It's pretty hilarious. It's Patrick Mahomes versus Caleb Williams. It's pretty good. But no, it's so funny, and I guess if there's any time to break it out, even if it wasn't on purpose, I guess preseason is a good way to practice it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, see if it'll actually work within game. If it doesn't, it's just preseason.
Absolutely. So looking at some other things that happened, we kind of talked about how the special teams last week for Kansas City was, I think lackluster was is kind of an underhanded comment on that too. They showed up. They showed up big time on this one. Not even just the return, but on the kicking side of things too. 2 forced fumbles on kickoffs, one forced fumble on a kickoff and one on a punt return. So this special teams, something lit a fire under them too. I wonder if Dave Toub had a very stern talking to them after the first game there too. Sky Moore with 2 kick returns, one going for 43 yards, and I remember watching that one too. And it wasn't the kicker that got him. If he would have just made one slight adjustment to the left, he might have broke free and returned one to the house too. Which, good for Sky. He's been very lackluster as far as a wide receiver, and maybe kick returning would be his niche. Carson Steele had himself a 36-yard kick return. Nick Remigio, a 42-yard punt return. And, of course, on the other side, Matt Ariza with 2 punts that went over 60 yards. One for 61 and another for 62. So, yeah, Punt God is a very apt nickname for this guy, too. And I'm glad to see that he's handling, holding the kickoff or holding the field goals and extra points for Harrison Butker very well too. Even with a long snapper that had never done long snapping before. James Winchester, our normal long snapper, actually got injured during this game, and of all people to step up, Noah Gray, who has never apparently long snap for punts or field goals, extra points ever, just boom, natural. Just right there. I guess he must have practiced. There's no way you just, hey, you guy over here, just go onto the field and do it, right? So obviously he's had to have practiced, but apparently he's never done it in a game. And it was kind of funny because, I didn't even notice Winchester was gone watching it back. But I watched one of Ariza's punts. I think it was one of the 60 yards too. Noah runs up to him on the sideline, Matt Ariza, and Noah he makes the motion like, was that okay? That was decent. And Matt Ariza gave him 2 thumbs up. He's like, dude, you put it in the right spot because I just booted that thing to Kingdom Come. So that was actually pretty awesome for Noah Gray. So there we go. We've got a good backup long snapper. Best wishes to James Winchester. Hopefully he gets back and comes back healthy here soon too. So as far as receiving, I never would have guessed that this guy would be our leading receiver. He's been on the practice squad for 4 years, and this was a guy that I was so high on coming out of Clemson when we first drafted him, Cornell Powell, who has not even tasted the 53-man roster except maybe a handful of times. He had a 64-yard touchdown from, I believe it was Oda Lukin, our third-string quarterback, and that made him the highest yards receiver in this game. So, good for him. I'm glad he got to have his moment for a second. It's most likely not going to be enough to get him on the 53-man roster again. He'll probably be a backup special teamer. Yeah, well, that's the deal. He's been with us for 4 years, so clearly he's cleared waivers multiple times. So, I mean, one guy I was impressed with 6 targets and 3 receptions, Xavier Worthy. He found a way to get open. He even got himself his first touchdown. It wasn't with Mahomes, unfortunately. It was with Carson Wentz at quarterback. But Xavier Worthy showing off that it's not just his speed. He's very good, very high IQ when it comes to route running too. And he found the soft spots with the secondary. He turned on the speed when he needed to. So, yeah, it's very exciting to see what Buffalo has given us this year.
Targets, though.
What was that?
Only 50% on his targets.
Only
though.
50% on his targets, but that's the deal. It was I know one of them was a pass block that was short yardage. Another one was way overthrown because he. The timing's just off on there, and I think that was when Carson Wentz was throwing too. But yeah, when Mahomes and him connected, it was magic. I see something wonderful brewing between the two of them now.
Now, what I want to touch on here is a name that's glaring, and we don't know what's going to happen. Is Rashee Rice? What's going on there?
Well, I am excited to see him on the field, and let's just hope that they don't last second decide. Yeah, we'll go ahead and suspend you.
Well, he should.
I do believe, and there is a precedent for this too, that while the legal process takes place, it's probably most likely going to be the same scenario as Alvin Kamara. He'll play this year, and if there will be a suspension, which I'm sure there will be, it's going to happen next year.
Another thing going the Chiefs' way.
And there it is. That's all we're going to hear about, especially if the Chiefs do end up three-peating. That is all we're going to hear is that, well, they wouldn't have done it if Rashee Rice was suspended. I will laugh hysterically if Rashee has a 1,000-yard receiving season this year.
I will.
Yeah. I know you won't, but... Come on, it's funny, right? Yeah, we're all having a good time. We're all laughing here, right?
But the guy I think you need to keep on your roster is definitely Ian Book. You should keep him there. He should be more of a role in your team there.
Absolutely, and you know what? I'll throw the compliment right back to you. I think Kyle Allen, Week 1 starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Shall we talk about that now? I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it was raining to start out. Get the excuses out of the way. It's been a little bit since Russell Wilson touched the ball.
I thought that was the tears from Russell Wilson after he got sacked the third time there.
Offensive line did not do its part. There could be some blame on Russell Wilson as well. Just need to get synced, get those protection coverages in line there. But I think they're going to do a better performance this week. Tomlin's been harping on them, so I think they're going to rise to the challenge. Definitely didn't help that one of our offensive linemen got injured. That's no good. But, I mean, Russell Wilson, 8 for 10, 47 yards, I guess. Biggest thing was the sacks. The sacks set you back. It puts you in position where it's long throws, and you don't necessarily are going to get those. But Justin Fields, he did very well. I mean, as well as you could. 11 for 17. He had an amazing pass breaking out. I thought it was either going to be an interception or thrown out of bounds, and somehow there's a wide receiver over there. So that was a pretty good highlight.
Is that wide receiver one of them you think is a lock for the team, or was it one of those where he's probably a fringe player and that just happened to go his way?
I think it's more of like a fringe player, and it just happened to go his way.
So like Cornell Powell at this point.
But hey, I mean, definitely earned his spot on the practice squad. I don't know. It's hard to say what this team is going to be like. Things that I like. Pat Freiermuth, when he was targeted, 10 yards. He was only targeted once. Should be targeted more. The first part, my app for YouTube TV was saying that it was a blacked out game. And then all of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, it said, oh yeah, it's not a blacked out game anymore. So I don't know what was going on. But, so I didn't get to watch pretty much anything except for the fourth quarter. But Pat Freiermuth, yes, definitely need to get him more involved in it. And I think that'll start opening things up. George Pickens, he only got 2 targets. Caught 1 for 4 yards. He's one of our difference makers. We got to get the ball forced to him. And that'll open it up for Najee. Warren's injured. So we'll see how that all comes about. But we're going to be leaning heavily on Najee in the foreseeable future. Perrine, he might be a guy. He's a familiar face in the north. So we'll see on that. But, yeah, no. 9-3. Very high scoring affair. All offense.
Absolutely. So going back to what you're saying, more so not talking about Jalen Watson specifically, which hopefully there's not been any updates yet, has there? As far as
not that I've seen.
I haven't seen anything either. So, but definitely wish him the best. Hopefully, he gets back to being healthy very, very soon. How concerned are you as far as the offensive line, not just for quarterback protection, but obviously the one thing with Arthur Smith is having a healthy run game, and having a good offensive line, is very paramount in that scenario. So, how confident are you into the offensive line situation for Pittsburgh?
I'm not too worried. I think we're going to get it figured out over time there. I think we'll get it. One of our guys, I can't remember. He's a guy, he's Samoan that we picked up from
Fatanu or
yeah, he hasn't been playing.
Right.
So I think he's going to play this week. That's going to be a huge boost. He didn't allow a sack all last year. See what that does. And we got a rookie center now, so we just need to put some snaps under the belt with him, and I don't know. Absolutely. We might get it.
And I guess my other question would be, will Tomlin play things the same way as this week? Will it be a situation maybe reverse? Maybe Justin Fields starts in the first half and Russell Wilson maybe start in the second half?
No, it's going to be Russell Wilson. I believe they already kind of announced that too, or at least Russell did. He's going to be playing.
Trust me, I know.
Playing there. Yeah, I think Russell Wilson's the day one starter. That's already been decided. That's the Steeler way. They're going to give it to him. This is more an experimental year. I don't think this is an all-in year by any means. Maybe if we got a Uke, there'd be a little bit more of who's fitting better with him. Mm-hmm. But I think Russell Wilson brings more of the IQ on the field. He's been through a lot more games. He's seen a lot more things. And we're going to be a run first. So if he can at least target our guys, I say maybe like 26 passes a game.
Better than 50, right?
Yeah, better than 50. 26 passes. He's probably going to get 60, 70% completion. Mm-hmm. And I think that'd be just good for us.
All right, final question. You kind of mentioned his name a second ago, too. How frequently have you been scrolling or refreshing your phone waiting for that Ayuk trade?
At this point, not as much. There was a moment where I was checking Reddit constantly for it. I was checking the NFL, waiting for that news, but I don't think it's going to happen now. They say the negotiations soured. There's a report in the last few days about that. I don't know. I think he's still just trying to play the game, and deep down he's going to be a 49er. Trying to eke out maybe a couple more million.
It's interesting. It's like, who's going to sign first? Will it be Jamar with the Bengals? Will it be CeeDee Lamb with the Cowboys? Will it be Ayuk with the 49ers? I mean, you can even throw in T. Higgins for the Bengals in that list too. So, will Hassan Reddick's situation with the Jets ever be resolved? I don't know. There's a lot of fun preseason storylines with players holding out and everything too, which some have been resolved, especially in like the situation of Jordan Love, and some are still ongoing. So it'll be interesting, especially after the third preseason week, who's still holding out and who's put pen to paper. So I guess we'll find out. Who do the Steelers have for the final preseason week?
We got the Lions.
There you go.
So maybe this will be our first win.
There you go. And hey, we got the Chicago Bears, who are undefeated in preseason, so maybe we can knock them off their high horse. I don't know. It's already been announced, Andy Reid. There's no starters going to be playing in the third preseason game, which is obviously a good thing because the Chiefs have the very first game of the regular season on Thursday. So, yeah. probably for the best. Obviously, the starters are going to be the starters. Now it's just up to the second string, third string players to compete, and may the most worthy ones, no pun intended, make the 53-man roster. And that will be, as we're recording tomorrow night, and as this is uploaded tonight at 7:20 on the NFL Network. And you know what? Even though I won't see any of the stars on there, I'm still pretty excited to see how that shakes out. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up this week's episode?
It'd be nice to see a touchdown from this offense. I want to see a Russell Wilson to George Pickens touchdown. That's really what I want to see. A highlight of a 30-yard catch and run for a touchdown.
And you want to see a Justin Fields rushing touchdown too, right?
I mean, if I get a Justin Fields rushing touchdown, I'll take it.
That's his strength. That's what they really need to be using if he is playing. It's like they got to use his legs on that. That's what he's good at. So.
Yep. No, but Russell Wilson touchdown. That's what I want to see.
There you go. All righty, we'll check back in next week and see how that turns out too. So, but thank you everybody so much for watching. Let us know down below in the comments as far as your team. Who would you want to see make the 53-man roster on your squad? Who surprised you this week? What was your favorite moment of preseason week 2 rather? Boy, I'm so excited for football. I can't even talk right now. We're just days away, 2 weeks away. I can just feel it. We can feel it in our bones. But thank you everybody so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you next week.